Hello, chillins, decorators and interweb. This is Phil Beckwith, the professional painter and decorator. And as the thumbnail says, why should you line? Lining walls. Why do you need to line? I'm going to tell you why you need to line. It gives you an even sound surface, even sound coloured surface for when you're putting your wallpaper on. It gives you also a better surface to actually hang your paper on to make your paper last longer. It helps with the joints, stops you springing on the actual joints of your finished wallpaper. There's also benefits for thermal properties as well. So why should you line? Yeah, there's plenty of reasons why you should line and why you shouldn't be skimping on something that's only about £3 or £4 a roll. I know you've probably got your day's labour of paper in a room out, but that's by the by. But why should you line? You should line because it's a good foundation for your wallpaper to go over. Sometimes you get wallpaper that if you hold up to the light, and I've probably shown you on previous videos before, there'll be a link just there. You'll see it just under that shoulder of a reverse alternate length paper that I did, that you could see through it once you held it up against the light. Now, if you've got a paper like that and you hadn't lined the walls, and you've got uneven surfaces with different colours because somebody's been filling with browning and plaster, or even somebody's painted something on the wall, that can actually show through your finished paper. So that's why you line. It's always a good practice to line. Also, I'd say it's a good habit and practice to get into. Now, I'm just going to show you something today because I started horizontal lining, cross lining on here, and the wall, if you can just see, started running out. Look at that. I've got a gap there. So virtually it goes to nothing. With butt joint, always butt joint your lining paper. You don't have to worry about gaps, leaving gaps and filling it. That's I won't say it's bad practice, but you don't need to do it. Leave your lining paper. This is 800 grade lining paper. Leave your 800 grade lining paper a good 6, 7, 8 minutes to soak. Get it on, get it down, get your butt joints, and you won't have any problems. Right, these joints here that have ran out, I will have to use some fine surface filler on. So I'll use some fine surface filler, make it as neat as possible, and then it'll be a light sand tomorrow just to get them down so there's no actual filler on the paper. There, the lining paper, and I'll probably just get a brush full. I've got my paste here, paste brush, and I'll just size over the filler so the porosity of that surface of the filler doesn't actually affect when I put the finished wallpaper on. Finished wallpaper is quite expensive. Not sure how much it is. I shouldn't think it's £30 a roll on this job that I'm on. But no, lining is a good way to give a decent surface for your actual walls. And I know people are going to say, oh yeah, but you could just put emulsion on. Emulsion's not a good way to get a sound even surface. You could get a reaction with your paste over the surface of that emulsion. It starts bubbling away from the plaster. You're opening a can of worms. Whereas if you did that and you saw it on your lining paper, you could address it at that stage before you get any finished wallpaper on. But you're going to ask me, what did I do to these walls before I put the lining paper on? And I'm going to tell you. Now, these walls were actually, you can see over my shoulder, coated up with a very cheap contract emulsion. It was very dry. The porosity of the surface was terrible. So what I've done, all the walls that were, I've just lost you on my camera, sorry. I've gone over it with the Zinza guards. That's it's like a stabilising solution, but it's alkali resisting. It seals all your surfaces where you've got a problem surface. And because these walls are that dry, I really wanted to give it a good sealer coat. Now, in this corner just here, there'd been a lot of new plasterwork being done. Now, I didn't use Zinza guards on that. I just mixed a little bit of tub paste, and what I did, I put a thin coat of tub paste to size the new bare plaster areas. You can see where the ceiling up there is. I've just done exactly the same on that, but it was with thin down primer, Optima primer from Tikkurila. So that's what I've done on the bare plaster that's going to be painted, but on the walls it was the thin down tub paste. And my tub paste, you know the tub paste that I like? Yes, Wix tub paste. So that's what I've done. So here we are. Walls are all sanded down, obviously prepared, filled, sanded, gone over it with the Merca, got them all down nicely, gave a coat of guards, and now I'm lining. I'm cross-lining on these walls, but they're running out. So what I've done now, I've gone onto verticals. And you're going to say, Phil, why have you gone onto verticals? I've gone onto verticals because I don't want to do this run of lining paper all the way across and find that the walls are running out as bad as what this wall is. So there's nothing wrong with doing vertical lining. I know people say cross line. Yes, cross lining is the way you should do it because it's so you don't get your joints corresponding with the vertical joints of the actual finished wallpaper. So if you cross line and you can just see where they are there, you'll have them not corresponding. Whereas if you do vertical joints with vertical lining paper, there's a chance that the finished paper joints could correspond and line up where your joints are for your lining paper. Well, because I know that I'm going to be hanging a certain way around a room, I make sure that I'm hanging the opposite way with the lining paper. And with lining paper being slightly a different size, there's probably 1.5 inch difference, might not be as much as that, but finished wallpaper and lining paper are slightly different size, so you shouldn't be getting you shouldn't be getting joints tallying up at the same position. So that's why you really cross line. But that isn't happening now because what I'm doing is I'm going to do verticals, but I'll make sure that my lines, i.e. the joints, are nice and butt and they won't be corresponding. So this is a quick video. This is a quick video about lining. Why should you line? I'm telling you why you should line. It gives you a decent sound surface for wallpapering. Thermal properties also helps with making your finished paper last longer and stops your finished joints springing, and that's another good reason. And use decent paste. So over and out, short video for you. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.